Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am so excited for this video because we are finally going to be playing with the new Natasha Denona I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette. I ordered this as soon as it launched on the Natasha Denona website, but it kept getting delayed in shipping. I was just constantly checking the tracking, but it is finally here. So in today's video, we're gonna go through, do live swatches of everything. I'm gonna do an eye look and I will give you my thoughts. So let me show you how beautiful this is. It is such a stunning neutral palette. I feel like online it did pull a little bit more cool toned. I feel like for me looking at it in person, it is a mixture of cool, warm, and just true neutral. But the shimmers look beautiful. The swatches, I'm just gonna like add a video on screen that Natasha Denona did with the shimmers from this palette. I was like, okay, sold. So I need to know, like, is that actually what they look like? Because I'm so excited. Before we jump in, I do have an affiliate code with Natasha Denona, which still feels unreal to say, but if you are ever interested in purchasing anything from her website, you can use my code AMYLOVES for 15% off. Let's go ahead and jump on into the swatches. So the very first shade in the palette is called Stone, and it just looks to be a pretty soft, kind of cool toned gray-brown matte. We've got Whisper, which looks like a satiny kind of taupey shade. This has a really pretty soft reflection. And then we've got Ella, which looks like a pretty kind of shimmery mid-tone brown satin. Okay. Ooh, that's not the best swatch. I don't know what just happened there. Okay, let's try that again. It feels creamy, it just like didn't want to apply to my skin. I'm really hopeful that I'm gonna love this because I really loved the formula of everything in the Yucca palette that was the most recent midi release. Next we have the shade Vague, which is a little bit more of a warm brown neutral matte. We've got Travertine, which is a satiny kind of gray shade. And then we have Delilah, which this looks like it's gonna be one of the more intense shadows. It's like this creamy, like gray base with a silver reflect. Definitely very pretty. Okay, these mattes don't wanna swatch for me. I don't know what's going on. They feel creamy in the pan. Like there's definitely pigmentation, but maybe they just don't swatch the best, which is fine as long as they apply well on the eyes. Ooh, that's so pretty. Next we have the shade Silhouette, which looks to be a pretty deep, rich brown matte. Super cute. We've got Muse, which this is a pretty intense shimmer. It's a little bit more like on the flaky textured side, but look at that. It's just this beautiful like champagne-y gold. And then we have the shade Fair, which is just like a beige matte that like pretty much matches my skin tone. Again, that matte is just a little bit, ooh, that's so pretty. Okay, sorry. The matte is just a kind of sheer. Okay, Fair looks like it's a little bit peachy right here actually. Next we have the shade Filgree, which is a pretty intense kind of deep brown shimmer. We've got Wit, which is like a peachy neutral matte. And then Sheen, which this shade looks so pretty. It's like this really soft peachy champagne, and it just has like the slightest amount of like sheen to it, like the name suggests. It's not quite a satin. It definitely has a thinner texture to it. That's so pretty. Lastly, these might be the shades that I'm most excited about. We have Tender, which is like this really pretty cool toned gray matte. We've got Mesh, which is another gray matte. It's just a little bit on the lighter side. And then we have Mia, which is like this really pretty soft pink. Again, that shade is like on the much thinner side. Sheen and Mia are very similar to one another, but they're also very different from anything else I've seen from Natasha Denona. It's just a very, very thin, sparkly shade. I don't know that any of these shimmers in here are quite as intense as the ones in the Yucca palette, but it's super pretty. I do feel like that swatch video might have been like slightly catfishing, but overall, I love this color story. I love the tones. I could see this being just like a go-to neutral palette for so many people. So let's go ahead and jump into the look. So I did already go in with the P. Louise base in the shade 0.5 just to prime my eyes. I'm gonna start off with the shade Fair just because I'm curious to see if that sets my lids or if it's gonna be a little bit of like a peachy transition shade. Going in with that on a BK Beauty 212 brush through my crease. Oh yeah, you can definitely see it a little bit. I'm kind of struggling because part of me wants to go into like these peachy colors because they look so pretty, but then I also just want to do like a full-on cool toned look with the grays. I don't even know. Oh, and by the way, you guys, I just pulled out all of the new brushes that What's Up Beauty sent me. They look so detailed. I'm obsessed. So I am going to be incorporating those in today's look. I think next I'm going to go into the shade Mesh. I think I'm going to go more gray today, but I really want to do a multiple looks video with this palette. So let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. I'm just going to start bringing this on my outer V and through my crease just a little bit. Essentially, I'm like going in with 2 different transition shades, but it's just because I want to try the most amount of shades possible. Now I'm going to go into the shade Tender, and I'm going to pop that into my outer V and just start buffing it towards the crease as well. Just again, like each shade that I'm going a little bit darker, I'm being a little bit more precise with. I feel like the pigment is definitely showing up on my eyes, which I was slightly concerned about when it came to the swatches because they weren't swatching the best. Going in with my previous brush and just making sure that's all nice and soft. I do feel like these shades though on my eyes, they're looking more just neutral than anything. It does not look that cool toned. On a super tiny little detail crease brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Silhouette, that deepest brown, and just put that right here. Just adding a touch more depth. That looks really good, and just blending effortlessly. Like how that's looking, let's go ahead and focus on the lower lash line for a moment. I think I want to go kind of satiny on the lower lash line, so I'm going to start off with this shade right here, Travertine, and I'm just going to focus that on the outer half. Ooh, nope, not with that brush though. A little too rough for that area of my eyes. Just going to go in. Okay, that's better. And then I'm also going to go into the shade Whisper and pop that on the inner half of my lower lash line. I'm definitely going to go into Mia for my inner corner because it's such a pretty pink. It's giving me all the vibes. I just love the way that a pink shade like this looks with cool tone shadows. Kind of reminds me of my love for Romeo from the Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette with those cool tone mattes. It just pairs perfectly. I might even take a little bit of Mia onto the front of my lid. Just kind of up into the crease. Maybe let's go into a little bit of the shade Delilah because that one was really pretty too. And I'm just gonna pop that on the outer half. And then when there's a little bit less product on my finger, I'm blending towards the pink. Take that tiny, tiny little eyeliner brush again with Silhouette and just add a little bit of definition along the lash line. I actually do have an eyeliner from Natasha Denona that I feel like will go perfectly with this look, so I'm just gonna pull it out. This is the Macrotech Eye Crayon in the shade Brown. So I'm just gonna go ahead and line my tight line and my waterline with that. And then I'm going into the full sleeve mascara. I feel like I'm like, oh, I like this look. And then I put my mascara on and I'm like, ooh, I really like this look. I think it looks so, so cute. I'm gonna go into the Summer Abroad Latte Blush from Khaki and Finding Ferdinand because it's like the most beautiful neutral shade. And I just feel like it perfectly goes with the vibes of this look. I'm just gonna go ahead and add that to my cheekbones. And then on top of that, I'm gonna go into the Natasha Denona Super Glow Highlighter in the shade Fair, just to add a little extra glow. I thought it would be cute to use the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lipstick in the shade Amorosa, just because, you know, I need a nude vibes. This is a really pretty kind of cool toned nude. Alright y'all, so this is the finished look with the I Need a Nude palette. So let me give you my quick first impression thoughts. Overall, I do really like the look. I think it turned out beautifully. The mattes, even though, like I said, they didn't swatch the best, I feel like they had pigmentation on the eyes. They blended out decently. I definitely want to test them out a little bit further. I think it's kind of interesting because I've never had an issue with Natasha Denona's mattes not swatching well before. This is the first time that I can recall, but like I said, on the eyes, all is well. As far as the shimmers go, I feel like they're pretty, but I don't know if they're exactly what I was expecting. I was thinking that these were gonna be super, super intense, but I feel like there are a lot of satins here. Muse is definitely the most intense shade, but I feel like overall with this palette, every look you get is probably gonna be a little bit more on the soft side, which I understand, like I get it, it's in the name. I can see how this will be amazing for so many people who do love a good nude palette. And like I said, I really love the tones in here. I feel like you've got a little bit of peachiness, you've got a little bit of like grayy browns. It's less cool tone than I thought it was gonna be, but overall, still really stunning. So let me know if you do want to see me do multiple looks with this palette. I would love to have your feedback. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!